So I've been a fan of 311 since their first self-titled album. I was instantly drawn to their mix of rock, reggae, and rap, and they kind of blend this into this funky, unique combination. I have some very fond memories of listening to 311 anytime I'm on like a summer road trip. Something I really like about 311 is they've had a very consistent lineup since the early 90s, which I think is real impressive for how many albums they've done. And I think this really reflects on their overall sound and how mature the band is. Something I find unique about them is that the vocal mix of Nick Hexum and Doug Martinez, as vocalists, they couldn't sound more different. Nick has a very smooth, low voice, and if you notice in the album, he'll handle most of the melodies. Martinez has a pretty high-pitched voice and does a lot of the rapping parts too. My favorite parts of their sound is when they both sing together in harmony, and their voices really complement each other. I'll be totally honest, since they released Don't Tread on Me back in like the mid-2000s, I kind of took a step back from this band. Every album had one or two great tracks, and the rest just kind of fell flat for me. Let's see if the new album can win me back. So for their 13th album, yes, they've done 12 albums before this, they're titling this one Voyager. Alright, the first song on the album. Get your horns up on this one. It definitely starts real heavy with almost like a slowed down Metallica-is thrash guitar riff. Nick kicks us off vocally with a rap verse, which I really enjoy. There's this cool kind of eerie build-up with the drums, bass, and guitar before Martinez just shouts out Crossfire. And then the chorus hits. And when the chorus hits hard with these real low chugging guitars, and one of my favorite choruses on the album, which is sung by Nick. Going right out of the chorus, they go back to that pre-chorus build-up, and this time Martinez is rapping over it. When the second chorus hits, something I like is the drums come in full time instead of the halftime beat like they did in the first chorus. This chorus also has Martinez echoing Nick's melodies, giving it a more aggressive sound. It ends up having this almost really dissonant Korn-esque vibe, which I can't believe I'm saying in a 311 album. So I do have to dock some points for this song. If you ever heard the song Heist by Noise Storm, these two songs sound oddly familiar. And the pre-chorus build-up, especially with the pause into the chorus, real close. That eerie lead during the build-up is pretty much identical. You can listen and decide for yourself. I think both songs are great, but you really can't deny how close they sound. Apparently 311 and Noise Storm have worked things out, and what Nick was saying is he got this demo from a friend and had no idea it was a Noise Storm song, so I'm just gonna rate this how it kind of sounds on its own. I'd give this one a solid 8 out of 10. Don't You Worry, talk about a funky ska mixed with like an 80s electronic vibe. There's some cool ambient padding all over the song with some cool effects on the vocals. The bass sounds stellar, but I expect nothing less from Peanut. The pre-chorus has such a cool slowing vibe and a really fun chord progression. This one totally borrows from the modern kind of Chainsmokers style pre-chorus instrumental hooks where the hook is almost like this kind of instrumental, real kind of simple riff. Something else that's neat is the song structure. It kind of goes like intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, solo, and then that's it. The harmonies are real subtle, but they add a ton to the sound. I love how a band who's pretty notorious for basic song structures in the past is really kind of like pushing the boundaries and doing something kind of new, so props. Stainless. I love the guitar in this intro. Nick flexes the real high end of his vocal register here and in verses. This song also has a real cool chugging guitar breakdown. The biggest thing I noticed in the song is the dynamics between the floaty, spacey verses and the chugging heavy choruses. It kind of almost feels like two different songs once that chorus hits. Space and Time. This is one of the singles they released before the album dropped and is a fun, feel-good track. The guitar intro has a stellar tone, which is really reminiscent almost of, you remember the song Amber, which they released back in 2001. And it's pretty cool how they pan it kind of moving from left to right, so if you're listening with headphones, you kind of get that vibe. As far as the verses are concerned, the bass is really locked in on the kick drum while the guitar is kind of filling space in the background. It's got kind of like a spanky, reverb fill, ska-esque chords, which I really like. The chorus is very catchy. I like how Nick sings the first half of the chorus solo, and Martinez does some kind of subtle harmonies on the second half. The second verse has this cool back and forth between Martinez and Nick where the guitar hops more in a rock mode when Nick's singing. I also like the transition from the second verse going right into a pretty big solo. Instead of going into another chorus, this hops into a third verse. Something that really jumped out to me is the drums before the third chorus. Right around like the 2-minute 50-second mark, there's this real like awesome tom groove which goes into a ride cymbal groove, and it has some really intricate accents on the ride kick and snare which kind of follow along to the vocal melody. It almost sounds like the kind of drum ride pattern you'd have seen from the Rev with Avenged Sevenfold, especially around like the 3-minute 10-second mark. I definitely give props to the drums and the unique song structure for this one. It kind of keeps you guessing the whole time. I give this one 8 out of 10. This is a real fun one. Dream State. We have another one of the more rock songs here. This is a really fun drum beat. The chorus itself has an interesting chord progression, which kind of gives it this like slow, unsettling vibe, with like these major chord transitions, and it kind of builds. It works well on a song called Dream State. Production-wise, I like how they bring in and out the double-tracked vocals, and it really emphasizes some of the key lines. I've got to give this one a 6 out of 10. Good Feeling. This one opens up with some real EDM synth vibes, along with like a marching snare, kind of like Travis Barker intro. This isn't an insult, but the song has like, it almost has like an Owl City vibe. Verse 1 has some cool synth backing and then these driving quarter note kicks. Melody-wise, nothing too crazy. The guitar in the verses kind of sit in the background. The choruses definitely drive home the EDM vibe with kind of repeating the same vocal phrasing for 90% of the chorus and tons of heavy vocal processing. I think the breakdown with Martinez is real fun. I think it breaks the track up right when it starts to get a little repetitive. Lyrically, pretty straightforward, feel-good song. This kind of has like a Chainsmokers-esque vibe, but has real drums and kind of a reggae spanky guitar hanging in the background. I'll give this one a 6 out of 10. Up next we have What The. This has a cool spanky upbeat guitar riff. Verse-wise, it's probably my favorite on the whole album. Martinez, I think, has such an underrated singing voice, and you can't help but just kind of nod your head and groove to this. Vocally, it kind of reminds me of the song Getting Okay Now, which came on back on the Don't Tread On Me album. Nick Hexum on the pre-chorus has this real cool rhythmic melody which sits nicely with the drums. The chorus is definitely feel good and keeps the upbeat vibe. The post-chorus guitar has this cool Black Keys-esque guitar solo. I also like the real cool Travis Barker marching band style drum solo right before the guitar solo. I'm gonna give this song a 9 out of 10, love it. All right, next we have Better Space, and wow, I love this verse. The contrast of the smooth vocals over the dirty guitar really makes the song feel fun. It's also got this piano chorus, and to be fair, the song structures on most of this album are all over the place. So to be honest, I can't even really tell what is a verse and chorus anymore. And I think that's a really good thing. I personally love, like, I grew up on prog music. I like how like the song kind of like evolves throughout the entire thing and it kind of has this soundscape to it. I give this one a 7 out of 10. Dodging Raindrops. This song has a reggae mixed with like a modern pop vibe. It's got a fun, even though it's super predictable, build up to the chorus. The chorus is incredibly catchy. I think this is a great feel-good song, and it might be one of the most pop-friendly songs on the album. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Didn't hate it, didn't love it, thought it was pretty good. All right, we have Rolling Through coming on next, and I love the aggressive rap-focused songs. The verse reminds me of the song High from their Blue album. I love the guitar riffs on this song. The bass and drums kind of hold steady and give the vocals a little bit of room to breathe. I would have liked to see more songs like this one on the album. Like lyrically, their aggressive rap tracks they still even have this uplifting vibe, even though it's like an in-your-face rap song. I love also the back and forth between Nick and Martinez. I think this is one of my favorite songs on the album. I give this one a 9 out of 10. Check it out. Born to Live, Peanut be slapping the bass. This has a cool, steady quarter note drive through most of the song, which really keeps your head bobbing. Peanut really steps out during this song. Anyone who thinks the bass guitar is just a background filler instrument should give this song a listen. So the drums are actually kind of minimalistic here, but I think it works really well and allows Peanut to get a little bit more funky on this one. All right, up next we have Charge It Up. Now the back and forth during the choruses really show what a good tube vocalist band can accomplish. The verse melodies kind of float over this really bouncy, major key heavy riff. In this song, the guitar really gets to shine and rock out, and it's just riff city here. Something that I really loved is the bridge has this really cool 7/8 riff, which if you're a music theory nerd, it's to be able to write something in 7/8 and still have it real feel musical is just awesome. Honestly, this song is a grand finale of like killer guitar riffs, so definitely check this one out, especially if you're a guitar player. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. Lucid Dreams. Here we go, this is the last song on the album. Now the last few songs have been really rock and rap heavy. It's weird because it kind of goes into the stripped back reggae style finale here. I love the song, but I thought it was a weird way to end the album. I personally tend to like albums that have this big anthemic, epic ending. But hey, 311 has thrown a ton of curveballs this record at us, so, you know. Martinez has some really subtle harmonies in the chorus, which I think really add to the song. Overall, I give this song probably like a 6 out of 10. Don't love it, don't hate it. Overall thoughts. As a musician, I love the drum work on this album. Major props to Chad Sexton for really doing stellar work on the entire album. What I like is he knows when to show off and he knows when to kind of sit in the pocket and just hold things down. Lyrically, this is more of the feel-good lyrics you'd expect from 311. I really think they did a great job on this album as a whole, and you can really feel the maturity of doing 12 albums together, which is unreal. If I had to recommend any songs from this album, I'd check out Rolling Through, Charge It Up, and What The. Those are probably my 3 favorites. All right, so that was Voyager by 311. If you guys liked the video, Feel free to give me a like, give me a subscribe. If there's anything I can do better, please let me know in the comments. I want to make these videos awesome and fun for you guys. All right, so thank you guys so much. I'll catch you next week.